MMA boxing talk here. So the rumor is Conor McGregor versus Eddie Alvarez is in the works for Madison Square Garden, UFC 205, November 12th. This is the rumor. A lot of people are talking about this, and it wouldn't surprise me one bit. A couple reasons: Conor McGregor has always showed interest in becoming a two-weight world champion. Both these guys have both been very, very quiet lately. And Eddie Alvarez was talking a lot of shit right after the McGregor-Diaz rematch. So now he's gone quiet. Conor's been quiet. You never know. This could happen. Now, a lot of people are going to be upset about this. A lot of Khabib time people are going to be upset of this. Obviously, Eddie Alvarez is the champion. He just beat RDA, first round TKO. The number one contender right now is Khabib Nurmagomedov, which I disagree with quite a bit. A lot of people think that he deserves a title shot, and they look at his record, 22-0 or 23-0, only 7 fights in the UFC, and in the past 2.5 years, Khabib's only beat a UFC rookie, a part-time fighter, and Daryl Horcher. Since Khabib beat RDA, which was not the RDA of today, RDA improved leaps and bounds since he fought Khabib. Khabib hasn't done nothing. So the UFC is a business. What have you done for me lately? And Khabib hasn't done shit lately. Okay, he looked good and finished the guy, Daryl Horcher. So what? Who is Daryl Horcher? You know what I mean? Khabib really should fight the winner of Dos Anjos versus Ferguson. Khabib was supposed to fight Ferguson. Khabib, we all thought was going to fight RDA eventually because RDA was champion. But Khabib really should fight the winner of those two, unless they give him Edson Barbosa. I think that would be a good, interesting fight. But Khabib, what I'm getting at is Khabib has to beat someone relevant to get a title shot. I mean, what's he going off of? Oh, a win over RDA 2.5 years ago? No. Like, you're undefeated. You have a padded record, okay? All those wins are in Russia or whatever. 7-0 in the UFC. And in the past 2.5 years, no significant wins. So, now on the other hand, a lot of people are going to say Conor McGregor doesn't deserve this title shot. And, I understand that because, yes, he's the 145-pound champion, which he has not defended it yet. And I mean, Aldo is the vacant Aldo has the interim title, so there's not a whole lot for McGregor to go down there and do. Of course, people are going to be upset about that. Holloway is a good fight. Aldo would be great. I mean, Frankie Edgar, yeah, he had to beat Aldo. No one wants to see McGregor Frankie now. It's too bad. But let's be honest here. Conor McGregor is the biggest star in the UFC. He brings in money and pay-per-view buys and, buzz and interest more than any other fighter in the history of the UFC. So, if he wants to go do this, the UFC is going to let him. And not to mention, it's a super fight. You got champion versus champion. And, personally, the only real argument I could see people saying is that Khabib deserves it more. Because, RDA and Ferguson, they're tied up. Edson Barbosa he didn't do enough to get a title shot. That's why I think Barbosa Khabib make that fight. Anyway, I just wanted to put out a video kind of giving my take. This is a really big card, Madison Square Garden. First, the debut in New York City, in New York State. Media capital of the world. This is huge. And the UFC wants Conor McGregor fighting, headlining this, and it's a huge thing. Conor McGregor has a chance to become only the third UFC fighter in history to be a two-way world champion, and Conor McGregor would have done it consecutively, which neither Penn or Randy Couture did. They did it at different times in their careers. They won both their titles, but I really don't see Conor McGregor ever going back to 145. I've been saying that for months now. Let's be honest here. The past 6-8 months, He's been training and fighting at 170 pounds or so. It's very tough to have 2 fights at 170 and then try to make the weight cut at 145. I mean, it was tough for Conor McGregor to begin with, the weight cut. And now, he's been fighting at 170. Now it's that much harder to come down. Your body's used to it. It's got acclimated to that weight. So 155 makes sense. Conor McGregor's not going to fight Barbosa. He's not going to fight Nate Diaz next. I mean, that fight is later down the road. I mean, Dana White said it. And Diaz thinks he won both fights, so he's in no rush for that fight anyway. That fight will always be there. Whether Conor loses a couple in the meantime or Diaz loses a couple in the meantime, regardless, that fight, that trilogy will always be interesting. No matter what the records are, always a great fight. So really, like I said, Conor McGregor is rumored to fight Alvarez. I think Khabib really should fight the winner of RDA, Tony Ferguson. Tony Ferguson and RDA. Tony Ferguson and Khabib were scheduled to fight twice already. Khabib pulled out the first time, Ferguson pulled out the second time. And, let's see if Khabib can beat the RDA. Let's see if he can beat him again. He has to have a significant win to get a title shot. I'm sorry. Unless you have star power, like Conor McGregor, and he is a champion to begin with, Khabib, he doesn't bring in enough interest. He has a lot of fans, sure, but nobody in North America really knows about Khabib unless you're a hardcore MMA fan. So that's basically it. Conor McGregor is, if he gets the shot, people are going to say it's not fair and all this stuff. But when you're the biggest star in the UFC, it comes with the territory. You get to do things that others can't, and others might have to wait. So, like I said, Khabib can either wait and sit out, or he can fight the winner of RDA, Tony Ferguson. In my opinion, RDA versus Tony Ferguson, the winner could get Conor McGregor as well, because Conor was scheduled to fight RDA. And if Ferguson can beat RDA, then maybe McGregor would be interested in that fight. I'm not sure. Tony Ferguson, Conor McGregor would be a great fight. I'd love to see that. I'd love to see Ferguson versus Nate Diaz. That would be a great fight. So, let me know what you guys think. I just wanted to give my thoughts about this. And, if this happens, shit really is going to hit the fan. You're going to have all these people saying Conor McGregor doesn't deserve it. He hasn't defended his title and all that stuff. And I agree. He hasn't defended his title. But you know what? He's on to bigger and better things. He has bigger fish to fry. And yes, he should be stripped of his title. But really, someone made a good point about this. And if he's going to fight Eddie Alvarez, it would be ridiculous to have him be stripped of his title now. You could build that champion versus champion, even though if you strip him, everyone still knows he's the man at 145. I don't know. I think Aldo, yes, he deserves a rematch. He beat Frankie. But he didn't really look spectacular. I thought he looked good. But the style in which Aldo beat Edgar in the second fight, that's not going to work against Conor McGregor. He's not going to win a 5-round decision against Conor McGregor fighting that way. I'm sorry. He's just not. Conor McGregor in 25 minutes is going to find that chin of Aldo's, and he's a little man. Conor is going to put him out, put him to sleep. I thought Frankie would have had a better chance against Conor, but he lost, But I really think that in the meantime, if they're going to do Conor versus Eddie Alvarez, in the meantime, you got to make Aldo versus Holloway. And the winner becomes, I think, after that fight, the winner becomes, obviously, eventually the winner would become would just become the champion. Just how they did it with Renan Barão. I mean, that's my opinion. Let me know what you guys think. Of course, not everyone's going to agree, but I just thought I'd give my perspective on this, and let me know what you guys think. If you liked the video, subscribe. Check me out on Twitter at MMA Boxing Talk 1. That's it for this one. Peace.